You took me by the hand, made me a man. That one night, you made everything alright.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to another edition of my weekly recap show. And remember, this is not just a weight loss show. This is about my full life rebuild. I don't want to just stick to just weight loss. I want to take you on this journey, and this is for me to document this amazing point in my life where I have started at 341.9 pounds and I'm taking it down to 210. I'm going to look back on this one day, and this is just going to be exciting and just monumental for myself to look at this diary of myself. And I'm posting it online so you guys can come along for this journey with me. And I really hope you appreciate this episode because it is a double episode. We're doing week 10 and 11 because, just be honest, I'm behind. So let's get into this recap and let's get trucking.
Let's recap.
All right, guys, and like I just said, this is a double week episode, week 10 and 11, and there's reasons behind that I'll get into in a little bit, but first, let's recap. So everybody knows week 1, day 1, I started at 341.9 pounds, and that was on 12/15/25. If you follow this channel, you know that date. That's the date I woke up, sitting on the couch, got my ass up, got this stuff in gear. We ended at week 9 at 298.1, and once again, making their return every week, well, every 2 weeks. We got Tiger Woods doing science, Albert Einstein golfing. These are my AI friends. They're always watching, keeping me on track. So that's basically the recap. Now let's get into food.
We're talking food, people.
All right, guys, what is up? And let's talk food. As everybody knows, this is my staple, right? This is what I do every day before I go to the gym. When I wake up in the morning, I get my electrolytes from this Ultimate drink. This, once again, I've talked about this before. This I've heard from Gary Brecka and Dana White when he's on his fast, but I do it every day, and I'm sure he does too. Electrolytes, obviously need it. Salt, once again, same thing. Baja Gold mineral salt. I just do a pinch of this with this and my creatine. So this is naked creatine. Like, I'm not endorsed by any of these brands. This is actually what I really use. And so far it's worked. I mean, the results are kicking. I don't know how else to say it. I think they're doing great. I mean, you know, obviously somebody prove me wrong, whatever, but you know, I feel amazing, you know, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, so I do 3 scoops of this, which is 15 grams of creatine. No really rhyme or reason for it. You know, I've read multiple studies out there that talk about, you know, 20 grams of creatine. Some people do 10 and 10. 5 grams is obviously the recommended dosage, but who does recommended, right? I mean, what the day and age we're living in, I mean, everybody out there is just sticking themselves with like 15 needles a day. Not, I mean, I'm not, but I'm just saying, like, these people today, it's just insane what you see on the internet. Nobody trusts their doctor. Nobody trusts anything except what they read, right? So that's just how it works, or what AI tells them. So that's that morning drink. And then when I'm on my fast, and we'll talk about the fasting and stuff, but I'm still sticking with 24-hour fast on Monday. And then when I go into Tuesday, but also too, so back up a little bit, on Sunday night, I try to stop eating around 5, 6 o'clock. So really, if you say I start fasting at 6 p.m. on Sunday, then I go into Monday, do a 24-hour fast. And then on Tuesday, I don't eat until I get home from work. So I'll have like bone broth, maybe an egg, 2 eggs, 3 eggs, depending on how really like hungry I am. And I know that breaks the fast, but I just found like this works. Like, I'm not trying to fast for 3 days anymore. That's basically like a 2-day fast, right? It's like a 48-hour fast. Then I'm introducing some solid food. Then Wednesday, same thing. I don't eat all day, eat at night, maybe a little bit more food, add some spinach, add some other stuff with the eggs and bone broth. And then on Thursday, we resume regular eating again. So, and I know there's some speculation out there, speculation, I mean, who's right, who's wrong, right? I feel like I read this thing the other day about those, when I grew up, you didn't have the internet really like you do today, where you just find anything you want, right? So when I grew up, you had these muscle magazines, Muscle Fitness, you know, and they were all in there promoting protein and all this stuff. And I read this article the other day that really hit home, is that they would always say 1 pound of protein per body weight, or per body pound, something like that, right? But if you think about it, every other page in that thing was an ad for like supplements and all that. So they're trying to sell you on that stuff. So who knows what's really right or whatever. So they basically put all those articles in there, and that was the old way of looking at it. So your body can't even, you know, use all that protein. So yeah, my mind, I'm just going off results right now, and I could be wrong, could be right, but those magazines that we grew up on was basically, without you knowing it, trying to sell you to sell the products behind the scenes. In your mind, you're like, I need to buy food. I need to buy all this food to keep me going. I need to buy these supplements. I need to buy that so I'm gonna lose weight. You know, but really, do we need all that? I mean, so that's, you know, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And I'm just looking at the results. I understand there's a lot of science out there. There's a lot of people that's done this, done that, and done this, but you know, that's just basically what I'm going off on. Don't follow me. I'm not a doctor in any way. So let's just let that be known. Methylated multivitamin. I take this every day. We got our Nakalusa, whatever this is. This was basically, I read on Joe Rogan's show talking about it cleans up the arteries and like tests. So why not, right? Magnesium basazoxide. So yeah, I take magnesium every night, and then calcium with D3K2. Now, this is my fasting protocol right here, right? I do this whenever I'm fasting. I take all of this, and then when I'm not fasting, I still take all this plus food. So, but I just want to. That's the reason I have just these products out, and I still do a protein shake. I still, throw a banana in here and there. And something new I've been implementing is on the weekends when I do like my heavy eating, and we'll get to those in a minute. When I do my heavy eating, it's like what I consider heavy, at least in this phase. But when I do like my normal, like 2,500 calories to 3,000 calorie eating days, I start adding carbs in. I get oatmeal in the morning, and I feel amazing. When you don't have carbs like that for a while, and you're doing like fasting and then just bone broth and eggs, you really feel it's like going off caffeine, right? If you go off caffeine for like a week or two, and then you have caffeine, you feel that effects. When I have that oatmeal on Saturday morning and Sunday morning, and then I go to the gym, night and day. So that's why it's hard for me to believe in like the carnivore diet and stuff. Like I get it, the carnivore diet, like your body can turn protein into carbs because your brain needs carbs and everything. So your body's obviously turning something into carbs because your brain needs it to function, right? And then on Saturday, Sunday too, I eat like a sweet potato at night, but I don't do that during the week. During the week, it's more protein heavy, or just protein. I don't want to say heavy anymore, but more just protein and all that good stuff. So keep it light. And now I'm going to throw up on the screen a picture of my last food haul. And as you can see here, I got the organic eggs. Like I say, my channel's not about pushing organic, non-organic. You want stuff on that, there's plenty of stuff out there on YouTube for that. There we got beef, burgers, like natural burgers. I think it's 93.7, 93 lean, it's only 7% fat. Organic blackberries, kiwis. Got Parmesan cheese, which I read is Parmesan cheese has got the most protein in it and just, the best for you to eat in this situation. There's my sweet potatoes. Arugula, I substitute arugula and spinach now. And then obviously my Kettle on Fire bone broth. I got one of each there. So I substitute, I go back and forth with those. And what's funny is when you fast and stuff, you can really, but when I was eating like Uber Eats and, before 12, 15, 25, when I was sitting on that couch, I could not taste the difference between those bone broths. Now I can tell that's chicken bone broth and that's beef bone broth. It's very subtle, but you can tell the difference, which is crazy. And then this is something that I am really like into all of a sudden. Sauerkraut. I would never eat sauerkraut. I remember when I was younger, I used to get like a hot dog and they'd say, "Oh, here's your condiments, sauerkraut." No, thank you. I just looked at it like it was the plague. Now I got this sauerkraut that's on the picture here. This Cleveland, whatever. And like I say, I'm not endorsing any of this stuff, whatever, but it has garlic infused and probiotic, obviously. But unbelievable. I can eat that whole bag in one sitting, which is scary. And I know anything too much of anything is probably bad for you. But yeah, that's very scary. But I am addicted to sauerkraut right now. I put it on my plate every time I make the hamburger meat. Anything that has any kind of hot food, I make a portion of sauerkraut. So it's a great thing to be addicted to, I guess, right? But yeah, so just unbelievable. Like in the berries, in kiwi, I'm fine. I read up on fruits that are like low glycemic index fruits, don't spike your sugar or your spike so much. And kiwis had the greatest fiber. Both of these obviously great fiber. And I'm trying to implement fiber too. So I'm always playing with my MyFitnessPal app to see like what I eat and what gives me those, that zone I'm looking for. And I know you need fiber. And that's the other thing about the carnivore diet and stuff like that, that's hard for me to get back on, because you won't really see these results in the carnivore diet stuff or any of these diets until it's too late, right? Like if you stuck with the carnivore diet for 20 something years and all of a sudden they tell you got colon cancer or something, it's too late. It's that point, right? So it's just you need fiber, but I don't know. So that's just kind of where I'm at on that. And like I say, prove me wrong. Comment and tell me if I'm wrong or not. But have you done it for 20 something years? Let's see what happens, It's like when cigarettes came out or people start smoking, obviously not when they came out, it's been forever, but now all of a sudden it caused cancer, like as we're growing up. When I was younger, my mom, I believe, smoked when I was in her womb, which maybe caused them, but back in the 70s, parents, even before that, 60s, 50s, mothers smoked while they're having babies. It's just crazy, it's just. So now what we're looking at here, and remember I'm combining week 10 and 11. Week 10, this is a food log for Saturday, and as you can see on the screen, 3,073 calories, which is crazy for me, and this is, I think around week 10, and once I got in the 200s, because I dropped, once I got around the 200 number, I started to kind of like, okay, kicking in, I started to crave more because I was working out harder, right? So I was like, I need more food, and this is just something that I came up with, I started to, that's how I came up with the whole eat higher calories on the weekend, which is kind of weird if you think about it, but if I'm sitting at home, it's hard for me to fast or whatever. Like it's easier for me when I'm working to fast, obviously, because occupy your brain, take your brain off being hungry, and it's really just habits, right? Like whenever I fast and I get to like that second day, like I feel amazing, like I feel free, I feel loose. I'm still working out. So you get addicted to that feeling. And once you get past that first day of doing a full like 24-hour no food fast, it makes the next days hard. Sometimes I'm like, hey, I could do another day. But I'm like, no, don't do it. Stick to your plan. Have your bone broth stuff. But yeah, it's very interesting. I'm mentally, like my brain is changing and stuff. Now the other day I had ice cream. But it was like low calorie ice cream, what you consider low calorie ice cream, I guess. But I'm eating like half the container and I really start to feel sick, so your brain, I always heard people growing up, like your brain starts to rewire itself, like you don't want that shit food, you don't want that high processed food anymore. Now I don't even crave like processed food like Funyuns or some weird shit like that. Like in sauces, I have stopped like eating sauces. Now my only sauce I eat is like hot sauce, honey, and like Parmesan cheese. I'll tell you what, when you have like hamburger meat, and I say hamburger meat, burger meat with like salt, pepper on it, and then you put some honey on there. Oh my God. And with Parmesan cheese, you're welcome. You're welcome. Take that for what you just take that. Don't even for what it is. Take it. But you're welcome. All right, so let's get back to this. So week 10 heavy day here. So yeah, 3,000. So I got a banana. This is obviously breakfast. This is before I'm going to work out. And you got pre and protein powder, or peanut butter powder, which you've seen before. That's the whey protein that I used this week, grass-fed whey. And obviously there we got the naked creatine. Okay. Oh, and here we go. So yeah, still on that Chipotle. Not endorsed by Chipotle. I'm still waiting. Phone doesn't ring. You know, I'm waiting for Chipotle to call me. So, I mean, every week, and this is the funny part too, I look forward to Chipotle. I'm talking about, that feels like my weekend, like, it's like my weekend gas, you know? Like, I look forward to having that Chipotle. It's just, it's unbelievable. And I think I've always been a person where I've never sacrificed anything like this, you know? Like I've never sacrificed food, and now it's not even a sacrifice. Like, I always remember, like, my ex-wife used to say to me, you know, you should be happy with oatmeal and syrup is like your treat, like ice cream. No, I was not. Give me that goddamn Rocky Road. I mean, come on, what are we kidding? But now, funny enough, I am. That's actually, to me, a nice sweet treat would just be some oatmeal with a little dash of maple syrup. Who am I? Who the hell am I now? What is happening? Greatness is happening. That's what's fucking happening. All right. So back to this. Chipotle, obviously there's that Tabasco. Talk about guacamole. I mean, I just crush guacamole now. This stuff, and I don't feel guilty at all about it either. No guilt, none. Here we go. Fresh tomato salsa, give me all of it. Just give me all the salsa. There we go, Chipotle chicken. Look at that, 3 servings. This guy, because he can now. Yes, oh, there we go, blackberries. Whole cup. And I actually, 1 container of blackberries is like 2 cups. So I just crush a container a day when I'm eating berries, basically, when I want to eat berries. So there we go, ground beef, all that, get it, 8 ounces. Actually, I think I crushed the whole 16 ounces here. So you gotta remember, I had all that chicken. Now we're gonna crush a ground beef, because remember, it's 3,000 calories. So there's the parm. There's that Parmesan cheese. And so, yeah, and I just, you know, see the exercise. So on the weekend, the exercise doesn't really, when it says 627 for aerobics general, if you remember my Garmin watch, basically it doesn't really track the treadmill that well. I think it trumps by like pumping your arms. So what I do is I just put it on Track Me, which is like a track on here. Because if I do walking, it doesn't ever, it always leaves like a mile off. So I just found Track Me, and then I'll do the treadmill, and then if I do weights after that, because 627 calories, 82 minutes. So that means I did treadmill and weights the same day. Because usually on the weekends, that's kind of what I do, and I'll talk about that more on weekends. And then obviously I took a walk. I took a walk probably in the afternoon. So yeah, this is what's funny, is I feel like this is like nothing, and it's still over 10,000 steps tracked. Probably more than that, obviously, walking around, doing the other stuff. But yeah, so that's day 10, or that's week 10's food. And then here, you know, I also just wanted to throw in, here's week 11. This is like a normal fasting day. So we got electrolytes, and you see that's that multivitamin. That's that food. That's my food right there. Don't change on the multivitamin. You know, and obviously I'm not tracking, I'm not adding all these on here, you know, because it's not, what am I going to, you know, I just basically, I put a multivitamin on there just to say I got my vitamins. And then this is actually not a fasting day. This is actually where I have bone broth. So you can see 2 cups of bone broth is 80 calories, and it's 40, obviously 40 in a cup. And I know that this was the beef, because the chicken is 45, so it's 90. And you get 20 grams of protein per cup. So that's 40 grams of protein. And I tell you what, you know, like I say, me before 12:15, if you said you get a bowl of bone broth, that's it. I mean, now I look forward to that bone broth. I heat that stuff up, put a little pepper in there. Oh my God, add a little Tabasco. Woo! Tabasco, kick it. I mean, I just look forward to it. It's like I'm eating hot sauce, hot sauce, basically. Just come on. That's why we're here. That's the change you have to make. And then that leads me into being a better person all around. This guy's living on hot sauce. This is it. This is me. Come on. And this is the crazy part, is that when I fast or light eating like this during the week, I end up walking more, you know, because so basically during the work week, I probably walk in between, you know, like 12,000 to 20,000 steps a day while fasting and doing all this. So it's just crazy. I mean, just who is this guy? Who is he? So yeah, guys, that's pretty much food. Food's always usually like the longest segment on here, but let's get into
Workouts.
All right, guys, and welcome to workouts for week 10 and 11. We got that double episode. Let's go. So with this, as I've talked about before, with workouts, you know, I show my workouts on the screen. I'll do that in a minute. But when I show my workouts on the screen, it's just to show you that I've done the workouts. And also, too, it's for myself to look back and I can see like how I looked on week 1, week 5, week 8, just to see the body transformation, you know, thin and leaning out. And, you know, just getting all, you know, just to see it, you know, like I say, this is a video log for myself as well. Like, that's the reason I make these is yeah, I want to post this stuff on YouTube, but, you know, YouTube's funny, you know, stuff like that is like these things don't really get as much, you know, as everybody wants the shorts, right? So, but from these, I clip shorts from them and stuff like that so people can still see them. But a reason I maintain doing these weekly recaps is for this reason. Is for myself to look back on. And like I say, if anybody really is interested in what I do from week to week, obviously, there you go. So what I want to like really get into the workouts on this is like my walking. So in this at this stage, like by week 10 and 11 is I'll put it up on the screen. But I started to really, my body starts to get, you know, your body gets used to stuff, right? So I started out walking, holding onto the rails, you know, all that good stuff when I was like, you know, when I was 341.9. But, you know, and I thought like, oh yeah, it's good. Now I'm on the incline and I'm just pumping, going for it. So what I've started to do now is like mix it up. So the other day, like around about week 10, 11, I started to do where I would go in like the first 0.1. So let's say I'm going to a mile. Every 0.1, so it goes 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. So every 0.1 I go up on the incline. So I'll get to like 3.2 speed, and then it's like, say, starting out is 0.0. When it goes to 0.1, I actually go to 2.0 incline instead of 1.0, still 3.2 speed. Then when it hits 0.2, go to 3.0 incline. You know, so on until I get to 1 mile. By the time I get to 1 mile, I'm at 10. So 10 for, you know, to get to a mile. So yeah, so you're just going up every increment. Then what I do is I also have like, these are my different variations in walking on the treadmill. I do 40 minutes where the first 10 minutes is just a warm up pace. It's 0.0, probably get up to like 3 on the speed. Then when I hit 10 minutes, I go to 2.0, you know, 3.2 on the speed. And that's when I start, you know, just doing casual, like long strut, you know, stuff like that. Then when it gets to 20 minutes, I go to 3.0. Then, you know, it's probably go up to like 3.3, 3.4 speed. So that's another 10 minutes. Then when it gets to 30 minutes, I go to 4.0, and I usually stay around 3.4 or whatever, because I'm also watching my heart rate. I don't want my heart rate to go over, you know, like 160, 70. So in that range, when it gets into the red zone, so yeah, so you're trying to like, you know, maintain that, because if I spend 10 minutes in the red zone, which I've done, you feel, I mean, your head's pounding, you know, it's kind of dangerous, you know, and it's not so much like I can handle it. I've done it and stuff, but you start to feel like crap as the day goes on. It's like your body just worked, it just too much, you know? So what I'll do is when I get to, but the side effect of that is when you get to like, for 30 minutes, you feel amazing, right? So you just want to push yourself. So I find myself now as like, I'll get to that 30, switch it up to 4, and I'm starting to sweat. I usually start to drip sweat when I get to like 30 minutes and I hit 4. And then it's like in that 4 zone, you start to feel that runner's high, that euphoria, right? Who am I? Listen, look at me. I'm talking runner's high. This guy. So yeah, so I'm feeling that, and then I'll jack it up to like 3.5 on the speed, still staying at 4. Then we'll hit like 35 minutes, and then I'm like, okay, I in my mind, I'm like, make a choice. Look at the heart rate monitor, look at the screen, look at the heart rate. Oh man, my heart rate's like 150. What do I do here? You know, but I feel amazing, dripping sweat, start feeling it, and just like, ah. And then the crazy thing too is I start to think to myself, this is the most enjoyment I'm going to have all day. Like that zone and that feeling is like a high, you know, you feel it and you're like, ah. And I always used to people see her talk about runner's high and I'm like, what an idiot. Like Will Ferrell, you know, like when he crashed the hang glider and, you know, Wedding Crashers, you know, idiot. You know, that's how I used to feel. Now I'm like, oh shit, you know, and I get it now. I get it. I'm locked in, you know? So I'm on there and I make that decision where I'll go to 5 for a minute. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I even feel better now. And now it's like, say I'm at 37 minutes, crank it up to 6. Oh man, no holding on the rails. Just crank it. And next thing you know, I look at my heart rate, 160. Damn, I still got 2 minutes and I feel amazing. So, but I know if I push it into there, you know, that's just where I'm at now. It's crazy. You know, but I know it's 40 minutes. So like I said, when I do the ones where it goes up 0.1 and I keep going, I can hit that same heart rate in less time, but I like that endurance part of being able to do, you know, 10 minutes, separating it out. But now I think I'm going to start upping it even more, like go from 0 to 3, then to 4 and 5, but then the heart rate goes up. So like I say, I'm at this like weird spot where I want more, but I don't want to like, you know, crash my heart rate or die. I don't want to die. But no, it's that feeling afterwards, especially if I go to work. You know, I don't want to like crash and stuff. So it's a great feeling to have, you know, it's a great part that I'm in. And that's why I say I'm excited, you know, to bring you my way in my progress and stuff. Because this is just, like I say, it's a full life rebuild. It's a full life rebuild. You know, you feel it. You feel it. It's just, yeah, I feel amazing. I just felt like I've lost out on so much life or something, man. But yeah, so I'll get, you know, I know I kind of went on a tangent there. I mean, I don't even think I'm going to put, you know, well, I'll post a couple up here. You know, shoulders, you know, see really quick, see arms, I'll just go really fast, legs, stuff like that. Like I'll just show you, you know, just so you could see what I've done this week. Because like I said, I don't want this to be too long. But yeah, guys, I'm just so, I mean, I know if you go back and watch like my earlier weeks, weeks 1, 2, and 3, that was horrible. But yeah, just to see the progress and just the excitement and the passion that I have, I know I can feel it, you know. I'm just excited to do these videos. I'm excited to make my shorts. I do my walk talks every day, do my stuff. And like I said, but posting this is just me. It's just, I don't know, it's just changed my outlook. It's just changed everything for me, you know. So, and I appreciate, you know, all the support and stuff. So yeah, guys, let's just keep it going and keep trucking. Mental health. All right, guys, let's talk numbers. This is why we're here. This is what we want to know. Keep trucking. You did 2 weeks worth. So what did you lose in 2 weeks? All right. So remember, week 9, we left off at 298.1. Milestone. The guy got into 200s. Hasn't seen 200s probably since he was early 30s or something. I don't know. But it's crazy, you know. I never weighed myself at the end of my, I think in my 30s, I never really weighed myself hardly at all, you know. Why would? But yeah, so 298.1 and put up on the screen here week 10. So I went from 298.1 to 292.6. Unbelievable. 5.5 pounds, the boy down. Fast, and you can see there, you know, in the right column there is basically kind of what I stuck to that week. Fat 1 day worth of fasting and clean eating 101. I'm going to get a shirt that says clean eating 101. You know, that's how I believe him. But the fun doesn't stop there. No. Remember, I told you, it's a double week. So where we leave off after week 11? Well, 287.9, down another 4.7 pounds in week 11. This guy can't be stopped. I don't want to be stopped. What is up? We going from 287.9, into week 9, 298.1, and now at the end of week 11, 287.9. And next week, I'm going to post a double week again, and we'll see where we go there. There it is, guys. Week 11, ended at week 11, 287.9. Remember, started 12, 15, 25, 341.9. 11 weeks in, 287.9. This is when I found my stride. Come on. That's what I'm talking about. And you know what? Let's look at the numbers for 287.9. Put it on the screen here. 287.9. I'm not going to put week 10's scale numbers up. We're just going to go right for week 11. And then, yeah, so look at that. 41.4% body fat. Guys, this fat-free body weight, 168.7. Is that good? I don't know, but there, minus 54 pounds. 11 weeks, minus 54 pounds. Unbelievable. The rest of that, this is great. And here's, once again, you guys know I love this part. Them to say at the bottom, you still need 77 point, don't get happy. You're still 77.9 pounds short of your goal. That's great. I love that. Need that. That's what I need. I need to be told, don't get happy, keep trucking. Keep trucking. Keep that truck on the path. Don't get happy. Numbers here, once again, this is like the breakdown of, all the good stuff. 41.4% body fat still. God, it's crazy. Skeletal muscle, muscle mass, 160.4, which is crazy to see that number because I actually go down a little bit next week, but the metabolic age still a 55. Come on. Visceral fat 21. We'll see the difference in percentages. Bone mass 8.4. I mean, this one here kind of ties it together. So this is basically, you can see on the left-hand side, 12-15. That's when I started, obviously 12-15-25. I weighed in at 341.9. So this is a comparison, basically. It's always going to compare that 341.9 time, 349 time. But it's always going to compare that initial weigh-in at 12-15, which I like. It's telling me there's 73 days, minus 54 pounds, body fat, BMI, skeletal muscle, plus 7.2%, muscle mass, plus 6.1%. So if you think about it, I've lost 54 pounds, but I've also gained 6 pounds of muscle. So that's basically, I'm down 60 pounds at this point. Crazy of fat, I'm saying. Protein, I don't know much, if that's good or not. Obviously, it's anything plus I'll take in that regard. Yeah, body fat, subcutaneous fat, visceral fat down -7, down 7. I'm assuming that's pounds. I don't know, 28 to 21. I'll take it though, -7. But the funny thing, once again, the only thing that's average for this is my muscle mass. Everything else, like bone mass, all this stuff, everything, you're below average or obese, so yeah, or you're high. Yeah, you're high. So yeah, so that's just, like I say, I like that stuff though, because obviously I want it to be better, but I need that to keep me going, like posting this and all that stuff. Like I don't care about what the world sees because I've always hid stuff, like this. I never wanted to deal with my weight. I never wanted to talk about stuff, so that's the other part about this full life rebuild. And I guess we're moving into the mental health part. But yeah, so that's just changing that clarity, changing the attitude towards this stuff like this, being able to open up, and through this, going through a divorce and everything, I've become more open with my friends, more open about, just talking about things. And I also look for things from other people now. I look for people to check in, and say, hey, how are you doing? I never used to want to, I never want to talk about my feelings or any of this stuff, so that's what I mean. It's just a change, to feel this change within. And I would say it's just the losing weight, but it's just opened my eyes to a different world, a different path towards things, a different, change your path and get a different outcome kind of thing, like those old games, choose your outcome kind of thing, what you do in the game changes your outcome kind of thing, like video games or whatever. That's how I feel with my life now is, I don't know, it's a weird feeling and it's a great feeling. And it's also a sad feeling at the same time that, that I didn't do this before. So there's a lot of emotions in there, and I guess it's, how you deal with them, how you get things out, choose a different path. Like I said, it's just weird. like on the weekends, I don't even want to go out and like party anymore. But I know in the future I have to, and I don't mean I have to, but I'm going to probably want to go on dating and stuff like that. So it's going to be, so you have to you got to be able to set boundaries, and you got to be able to do things. And this is another thing my ex-wife used to tell me. It's like, you can't just sit at home and not do anything. And I used to argue with that, and I'd be like, oh, if I go out, I'm going to do this and that. Like, make healthy choices, she used to say. And yeah, it's true. And so it sucks that now I kind of realize that, yeah. But at that time I wasn't ready. That wasn't me then. And it sucks that this had to happen for me to see this side. But hey, it's at least we're here now, and it sucks. I don't want to say it is what it is, but you have to deal with it. I ain't gonna sit there and be down on myself all the time, which I am kind of sometimes. But still, it's just how much more do you got to learn? It's a learning lesson. Like, I'm tired of learning. Like, I don't want to learn anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, when, Lord, when? But yeah, guys. Like I said, at the end of the day, I really appreciate coming on this journey with me. And I know I say I document it for myself, and that is true. That's it. But it's nice to have a power. Like a team. You feel like you have a family. So I understand now what social media people say all the time about, like it's a team effort, it's a group, it's a feeling. I think it's more of a feeling than anything. You don't feel like you're doing it alone, or doing stuff like you reach out to people, and like I can see the power in that. And this is something new that I'm feeling, with all this stuff. And in my daily life, it's just, I just feel, waking up in the morning and doing these workouts, and it's just unbelievable that I've stuck with this long, and it is through the power of posting stuff like this. It keeps me accountable, and it just keeps me on that path. So yeah, guys, once again, I appreciate everything. I appreciate myself. Like, I did this, I'm doing this. I'm not done. We are on to week 12. And